Okay. Oh, tripping over a book. I guess this is my new gimmick coming into the frame. Now we're talking. So maybe you saw these images from this past weekend of Di Maria crying at the end of Benfica's last match at the end of the cup final. Oh, whoops. Those were the images from a couple of weeks ago when Di Maria was crying during his final league match with Benfica. But that's kind of the point, I guess. It was never meant to go this way. Not for Di Maria and not for me, especially. A big Di Maria boy. I'm the most important person here. Just joking. A Di Maria enjoyer, but anyone who's watched the channel will know this, as I think he's one of the most underrated players, or at the very least, one of the greatest performers in international finals. If you don't agree with me on the whole underrated thing, then you can't agree with me there. Copa America 2021, man of the match and scorer of the tournament-winning goal, Angel Di Maria. 2022 World Cup final, who scored and who was the top performer? A top performer, I'll say, Angel Di Maria. Man of the match in the Copa America 2024 final, Angel Di Maria. Of those tournaments, which ones did Argentina win? All of them. So anyway, I'm getting off track here. That happens in these more relaxed discussion videos. But all of this to say that I never signed up to see my man crying on two separate occasions because of some decisions from the manager, as well as the failures of the club in general, of which Rui Costa is the president, will have to take head on. And it's a shame that this is when Di Maria came back to Benfica. So yeah, I'm trying to do these videos a little more often, trying to just speak about Portuguese football a little more often. And a lot of you guys seem to like the more relaxed vibe of these videos now and then, where I'm kind of just, straight from the dome, stream of consciousness type thing, instead of the more put together edited videos, which are still the bread and butter. But we'll add this as a garnish now and then. And so let's continue on. Let's continue on with El Fideo, one of my favorite players of all time. Maybe even my favorite player at this point. I mean, I know I'm usually good at compartmentalizing, right? Like, you guys know Rui Costa is a player, I should say, is someone who I absolutely adored watching. Technical central midfielder, Rui Costa was that guy for me, but it's getting harder and harder to separate Rui Costa, the player, from Rui Costa, the president, and the sort of muddying of the reputation there. It's getting more difficult for me. I hate to say it. So Di Maria, with what he's achieved in his career, just the way in which he plays, how he steps up in big games like finals, Bruno Lage, how he steps up in finals, I've just come to really, really respect him even more as a player. And to top it all off, the fact that he turned down the millions and millions from Saudi Arabia, I mean, that endeared me to him, probably to tons of Benfiquistas, even more. So the first image of him crying, which came after Benfica's 1-1 draw with Braga, I mean, we kind of already knew that the league was lost prior to that, when Benfica failed to get a win over Sporting in the league at home. But for me, it came even prior to that match against Sporting, because we were playing at home against Arouca, winning 2-1, and giving up an equalizer in the 95th minute. That is unbecoming of a team that want to be champions. Doing that at home against a team that ended up finishing in 12th place. So we tied 2-2 in that match a couple months ago. You can go even further back from that as well. The 3-1 loss against Casapia is another no-no from the fellas, which, as you'll remember, that's when we were gifted the great Bruno Lage screaming at supporters leaks. I don't know, man. I think he absolutely fumbled the final, Lage that is, which we'll get to, but I still like the guy. He clearly loves Benfica, and yeah, he has some limitations, but I can't help but like him. So yeah, because of the results like that, it's those matches that ended up costing us, namely that match against Arouca, in my opinion. That's the one that I look at as unforgivable. And look, it's not like Sporting are undeserving winners. We can only blame ourselves for not taking care of this. I don't even want to go down the road of officiating. Let's not open that can of worms. But the Taça de Portugal final, I thought that Bruno Lage got that match so bang on at first. Benfica was all over Sporting, with Di Maria on the bench, by the way. A few of our top players on the bench as well, injuries, etc. And in the second half, we were so close to getting a second goal, if not for some, let's call it bad luck for Carreras. But Benfica was completely in control in this final until the changes started coming in. But no Di Maria. Kokshu, I get it. He was injured, but why bring on Renato Sanchez? Put Barreiro in there. Renato's barely played, man. This is where Bruno Lage started losing me, especially in taking off Pavlidis as well. It's the final match of the season. We only have a 1-goal lead. Heaven forbid we concede and have to play extra time. Leave some of our shooters out there, man. Leave some of our special players out there to give us a chance in case that happens. But one by one, our top players are coming off. Renato gives away a stupid penalty, and you knew that was it. Momentum swings in Sporting's favor. We're missing some of our top guys on the pitch. Sporting have most of theirs, and they, of course, end up winning. Now, what I was saying about El Fideo and how good he is in finals, Bruno Lage didn't start him. That's fine, I get that. He's had injury issues all season. But as soon as we went to extra time, as soon as that happened, you should have brought him on. You took off Bruma, an attacker, for Barreiro, a midfielder. Now bring on a guy who has some big game experiences and is capable of providing service to someone like Belotti, which he needed. Di Maria doesn't come on until the 103rd minute, essentially giving him about 15 minutes or so to conjure up something, which he was unable to do. Look, it's not lost on me that he's older now, that he doesn't move like he used to, but he hasn't exactly been quick for a while, right? His left foot is still great. His vision isn't gone. He still has something to offer, but instead, like in the league match, it ends in tears for Di Maria, which, I just hate to see it. He made a post saying goodbye to Portugal, essentially, and everything is kind of up in the air as to whether he will be playing for Benfica at the Club World Cup. Fabrizio Romano says that he won't. Yet Bruno Lage, the coach of Benfica, said that we are counting on Di Maria for the Club World Cup. So without a clarification, it's still kind of up in the air. Some reports say that's it for him. Others say that Benfica and he have an agreement for the Club World Cup. I hope that he will play on the one hand, as I personally didn't really digest that this was the end for him with Benfica because I was sort of upset about the results. And so selfishly, I want to see him at the Club World Cup. But despite the negativity surrounding it, saying goodbye in front of Benfica's supporters, at least the ones that were left in the stadium in Portugal, was probably best. But it's a shame that Di Maria came back to Benfica at a time like this, where once again, after Benfica failed to win the league and lose another final, then attention turns to who? Well, the coach, of course, but more so the president of the club, Rui Costa. I really hoped that his presidency would be better than what it has been, as Benfica has moved away from the things that we used to do so well. And with the election coming up in October, there's even more light being shed on Rui Costa's presidency and what that has brought the club, or hasn't brought. Well, for one, out of a possible 16, I believe, trophies, Benfica has won just 3, which is not a superb run from Benfica, and the league has been increasingly difficult to win. Porto has fallen off, but Sporting has risen, so you have to give Sporting credit there. But with the kind of money that Benfica has, with the kind of money we throw at transfers, there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing better, right? And this is something that, in general, transfers has fallen off majorly. Not the amount spent, but the quality that we're bringing in, or the creativity. Remember when Benfica was signing these, diamonds in the rough, or these talents from South America that would go on to be fantastic for us? We shifted our focus to signing players from PSG, as I went over in a previous video, or, he tried his best, but Benfica wouldn't necessarily look to someone like Belotti in the past, which they had to do because their other signing for the striker position, Cabral, was a bust as well. And the other guy that we sold off to MLS, right? Not to mention, when are we going to sign some actual right backs since Ba is always injured? How much longer do we go with Araujo and Orsnes as our right backs? One's a center back, the other's a midfielder. I mean, everything seems reactionary in the market with Benfica these days. We sell a player, but we never had a backup in mind. We deal with that later, scramble, and end up bringing in someone who is overpriced or someone who is injury prone on loan because they have a recognizable name. This is not how we used to operate. The scouting department has really fallen off. It was gutted with prominent guys like Pedro Ferreira leaving the scouting department. And so you would think that the club would start to lean upon their academy some more, which produces talents that are good enough to win at the youth levels, but there is a barrier for them when it comes to getting into the first team these days. In some ways, I mean, maybe it's good that someone like Di Maria is moving on, if only the silver lining being that younger players may get opportunities on the right flank. And by the way, I always thought that Di Maria should leave after the season. It's clear that he doesn't really have the legs to play at this level anymore. With a demanding schedule like a European team has that plays in the Champions League and the Club World Cup, just can't cut it anymore. I just wish that it had ended differently for him. And in general, it just feels like the essence of Benfica has been lost a little bit. Like, this desire to win has been snuffed out a little bit and replaced with a drive for financial goals. Hey, we cut our liabilities by 2.3% this season. Gone is the creativity when it comes to scouting, this bravery to give chances to our young talent. I think one of the things that I see as a hallmark of how our approach to the market has changed is that I don't need to look up the players we're signing anymore. In the past, I had no idea who these dudes from South America or Serbia were most of the time. Now it's all guys I'm familiar with from the top 5 leagues, and it hasn't served us that well. Anyway, a bit of a Benfica presidency election tangent there, but it's too bad that Di Maria came back to Benfica at this time in our history, during 2 seasons of pain, during an era where winning things isn't the expectation, but hey, we tried and that's what counts kind of attitude is adopted. So what's next for El Fideo? Where to next? Nothing has really been announced just yet, as there are always the rumors of him joining MLS. Those will never go away. And at 37, maybe he would be able to offer something still. I mean, I reckon he could. He may need to move a little more centrally, just slightly, but he can still offer something. That passing ability is still there. But the big rumor now is a return to Rosario Central, as Football Detectives has found that his wife used yellow and blue hearts in a message of support for her husband following the Taça de Portugal final loss. So we'll see. Maybe he's going back to Argentina. Just last year, I think it was, he said that he wouldn't go to Rosario Central due to not being able to guarantee the safety, the security of his family. Maybe there was a change there. I don't know. But regardless, if that was the last time that we saw Di Maria, a paltry 15 minutes or so, a guy who chose Benfica over money and who has provided so many moments of joy, for me at least, I won't speak for everyone, then that would be a shame. But that's a feeling I've kind of gotten used to these days with Benfica, unfortunately. Anyways, guys, just another yap sesh. Be sure to tune in weekly for more yap sessions, okay? I'm going to try to speak more about Portuguese football. Maybe I'll do something on Gyökeres again, a little update from last year's video. All the same, I love ya, and be well.